In 1920, in the Grand Abdeen Palace of Cairo, Farouk of Egypt was born into the gilded world of royalty, a child destined to inherit the legacy of his father, King Fuad I, and the prestige of the Muhammad Ali dynasty. Raised in opulence during a time when Egypt was still heavily influenced by British colonial power, Farouk's early life was shaped by European tutors, royal formality, and a deep sense of entitlement as the heir to the Egyptian throne. From childhood, Farouk was seen as the embodiment of Egyptian pride and modern Arab monarchy, a handsome, intelligent boy adored by his people and sheltered from the hardships of ordinary life. His education was a blend of Islamic tradition, royal etiquette, and European discipline, culminating in his dispatch to the Royal Military Academy in Woolwich, England, as a teenage cadet. However, homesickness and the sudden death of his father in 1936 cut his British training short. At just 16 years old, Farouk ascended the throne as King of Egypt and the Sudan, inheriting not only a crown but also a nation burdened by corruption, British interference, and nationalist unrest. His coronation was met with immense enthusiasm. Egyptians saw in him a youthful figure who could reclaim sovereignty and lead the country into a new golden age. Initially, Farouk embraced his role with vigor. He made public appearances, promised reforms, and engaged with both religious and secular leaders. Despite his initial popularity, Farouk soon found himself entangled in the political chaos of Egypt's semi-independent monarchy, where the British maintained military control and the Waft Party, a powerful nationalist faction, demanded real sovereignty. Farouk, still emotionally immature and politically inexperienced, was drawn more toward the luxurious lifestyle of a young monarch than the discipline of statecraft. As he grew into adulthood, his reign became increasingly defined by extravagance, scandals, and erratic governance. Farouk was fascinated by expensive cars, lavish banquets, and eccentric hobbies. He hoarded rare coins, collected thousands of wristwatches, and reportedly enjoyed dining on elaborate meals while the Egyptian economy suffered. His personal life became tabloid fodder. Farouk indulged in affairs, was accused of kleptomania, and had a notoriously strained marriage with Queen Farida, which ended in divorce in 1948. The once beloved king began to alienate his subjects, many of whom were enduring poverty and unemployment. World War II further complicated his rule. Although Egypt was officially neutral, British troops remained stationed throughout the country, and Farouk's reluctance to support the Allies made him a figure of suspicion. British officials grew increasingly frustrated with the king's indecisiveness and flirtations with Axis sympathizers, especially as German Field Marshal Rommel's Afrika Korps pushed toward Egypt's western border. In 1942, British forces famously surrounded Abdeen Palace and forced Farouk to appoint a pro-British Waft government at gunpoint, an event that humiliated him and deeply damaged his credibility with both the military and nationalists. After the war, Farouk's popularity never truly recovered. His lavish lifestyle, corruption within his court, and detachment from the suffering of everyday Egyptians painted him as an out-of-touch monarch in an era of rising republicanism and pan-Arab sentiment. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War was a critical blow to his image. Egyptian forces, poorly equipped and led, suffered defeat, and Farouk was blamed for the military's failure. The loss humiliated the nation and led to widespread disillusionment with the monarchy. Among the discontented were a group of young military officers, who viewed Farouk's regime as decadent and unworthy. This group, known as the Free Officers Movement, led by the charismatic Gamal Abdel Nasser and General Mohammed Naguib, began plotting to end the monarchy. Meanwhile, Farouk remained ensnared in the excesses of royal life. His weight ballooned, his public appearances became rare, and rumors of corruption and palace intrigues intensified. In 1952, Egypt erupted into protest. The Cairo Fire, a massive urban riot, signaled that the people were no longer afraid to show their rage. Months later, on July 23, 1952, the Free Officers launched a nearly bloodless coup. Rather than resist, Farouk surrendered with surprising ease. He was given a dignified exile aboard the royal yacht Mahroussa, and with tears in his eyes, he departed Alexandria's harbor with his baby son Fuad II, technically the last king of Egypt, beside him. The monarchy was officially abolished the following year, and Egypt declared itself a republic. Farouk settled in Italy, living a far quieter, though still extravagant, life in Rome and the French Riviera. He remained a subject of curiosity and sometimes ridicule in European high society, known more for his appetite and womanizing than for statesmanship. He watched from afar as Nasser rose to power, as Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal, and as the Arab world shifted rapidly. Farouk made occasional efforts to regain favor or return to Egypt, but these were rebuffed. In his final years, his health deteriorated due to obesity, heart disease, and years of excess. On March 18, 1965, while dining at a restaurant in Rome, King Farouk collapsed and died suddenly, reportedly of a heart attack, though rumors of poisoning persisted. He was 45 years old. His body was returned to Cairo and buried quietly in the Al-Rifai Mosque, a modest end for a man who once sat on a gilded throne. Farouk's legacy remains complex and controversial. To some, he was a symbol of a decadent and failed monarchy, a cautionary tale of privilege without responsibility. To others, he was a charming if flawed figure, undone by the burdens of a broken system, international manipulation, and personal weakness. His reign marked the twilight of Egyptian royalty, the end of a centuries-old dynasty, and the beginning of the modern Egyptian republic. Farouk I's life was a blend of royal splendor and national tragedy, a man raised to be a king but unprepared for the storm of history that would wash his throne away.